General Keane, to what extent did this surprise action by Russia in Syria represent an intelligence failure?
Well, I don't know myself what we do know and what the President has been told. Just seeing the reaction, certainly, of the National Command Authority, it appears by every indication that, we didn't have much forewarning of this. Other than when he started to deceptively bring his airplanes in. He flew his fighters in underneath his large cargo aircraft so they wouldn't be picked up on radar. And then it was obvious that he was constructing something at the base. I think the first signs that I believe we knew something were physical signs that something was changing at the air base. I don't know that for a fact because I'm not privileged to have those classified briefings anymore.
General Jones, it's not comforting about our intelligence capability there, is it?
I think we were surprised by that.
Thank you very much. Let me say that as outrageous as Mr. Putin's actions have been in Syria, there's one thing you can say for him. He's standing by his only friend in the region. And so let me ask you this, General Keane. To the extent that Mr. Putin and the people around him are looking at the Baltic states, what signals are they looking for about the decisions this administration is about to make with regard to Afghanistan? And what will that say about our resolve to stand by people who've taken our side in very important areas of the world?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think this is one of Putin's major points that he's making strategically, is that he will stand by his friends and his allies, and he's willing to put muscle to that, to accomplish that. And I suspect Putin was somewhat in disbelief to watch America abandon Mubarak in Egypt, to watch America abandon Iraq, to watch America retreat from Yemen, and to watch America retreat from Libya. And he has a different playbook entirely from that. And here comes Afghanistan, as you just mentioned. I think we're going to make this decision, a force level that will not be that effective in helping to maintain security and stability in Afghanistan and will further put the country at risk. That will be read by Putin as another sign of America arbitrarily making decisions about the conditions of a war zone, and because we no longer want to be in it, moving away from it despite those conditions. Certainly our allies have all seen this track record of retreat and withdrawal, and obviously it has to give them concerns. You know as well as I do that anybody that talks to people in the Middle East region, there is not a country in the Middle East who we have a relationship with who doesn't have doubts about America in terms of its reliability and its trustworthiness to back them up in times of peril. That is a fact, and it's indisputable. I haven't talked to a Baltic leader, but I'm certain they have some issues with it. I also know, though, that they truly appreciate the forward positioning of troops and air power in their country, because that is a positive sign.
General Jones, those are pretty strong words by General Keane. Would you care to follow up on those?
I don't think there's any doubt that that in the areas that we deal with, particularly in the Middle East, that our reliability factor has suffered a serious blow over the last few years. Wasn't intended that way. I thought that the announcement of a pivot towards Asia was a mistake to announce it that way, because when you pivot towards something, you're pivoting away from something, and the Arabs took it quite differently than what perhaps we intended.
I don't remember being a part of that decision as a member of Congress for the last 21 years. Let me see if I can sneak a question in from Ms. Conley. It seems to me as an advocate, as a strong advocate of Radio Free Europe and Radio Liberty, that the Russians have been eating our lunch lately when it comes to the information war. How important is this, and do you agree with my assessment?
Senator, I fully agree with your assessment. Unfortunately, the tools that were successful during the Cold War, Radio Free Europe, Voice of America, are no longer the tools that are going to be able to penetrate an incredibly and sophisticated strategic communications campaign. I was in Bulgaria 3 weeks ago, where Russian oligarchs and firms have basically purchased every media outlet in Bulgaria. There is no ability to penetrate that, and they're not listening to Voice of America. When you go into Eastern Estonia, to Narva, they are only listening to Russian media, and they're given a completely different universe that they're living in. We have seen the efficiency of Russian trolls and tweeting incorrect information that's happening in the United States that can, cause concern. We are not able at this moment to counter this campaign, but we need to employ a much more effective strategy. I don't know if it's government propaganda, but I think it's a very sophisticated plan that works with social media outlets, those that are still open in Russia, although they're very few, and they're blocked repeatedly. But we must work much harder at focusing on European public opinion, which is quite negative, as well as in Russia. But this is the great challenge of our time, and we really don't have an effective answer.
Thank you.